they're going to super disagree with this. I think most of the time what you learn from an A/B test, whether it won or lost, is that it worked for this page, for this audience, on this time period.
Yeah.
And that's it, full stop.
I mean, I would agree with that too. I mean, that's the whole idea behind, continuous improvement and all that is, the world doesn't ever stay the same, right? So it's
deeply unsatisfying because
Yeah.
there's a whole, I think, cottage industry of people who've created this cottage industry of like learnings. Oh, we learned we're going to learn something from this losing test, and that means we should never do this again on our website. And I just like,
Right.
I don't think you know that. I think we can tell ourselves, and we want to impute this learning. We ran a test, and when we showed the customer logos below the call to action, it failed to beat the control. So learning, social proof with logos doesn't work. I was like, I don't think you know that.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to, like, institutional knowledge in a very quickly changing world is, I think it can be a dangerous thing in that regard. So yeah.
Yeah, it is, and it's just not satisfying. It's like, oh, we learned something.
Right.
The world, it's dynamic. That's why that's the whole point of A/B testing is you're trying to run this kind of clinical experiment. I want to say this, you're attempting to control the variables.
Yeah.
And you can do some things to give yourself control. I think falling for the illusion that it's a perfectly controlled experiment, which means you can make this extrapolation and we learn something. Now, especially from one experiment, even a few experiments. Now, I think there's a longitudinal learning that absolutely happens if you run a lot of experiments, you have a lot of data. By the way, I'm not talking about an outside third party. They have a different kind of learning because they just get repetitions. But I think if you work inside a company, you're working in an enterprise, Fortune 1000 company, and you run experiments for a year, I think you can draw some learnings from that. You can say these kind of things tend to work, and these kind of things tend not to work.